Welcome to 2060. I've just come from the 10th Global Conference on Health. It seems that the world is within reach of being rid of lifestyle diseases, or what we used to call non-communicable diseases. For this, we must thank those who conceived and then initiated, some 50 years ago, what has turned out to be the world's most significant cohort study, the Australian Genius Study. Can you imagine what life was like 50 years ago? Back then, lifestyle diseases cost Australians around $25 billion a year. Expenditure on health was out of control. Today, even with a population of 35 million, lifestyle diseases are a fraction of our total spend. But 50 years ago, around 16% of all deaths resulted from heart diseases and cancer. During 2008, the World Health Organization developed a global strategy for the prevention and control of non-communicable diseases. Australia was the first nation to be completely free of diabetes. Today, as most would know, diabetes has all but disappeared from the landscape. Of course, cohort studies are not new. The Framingham study, initiated just after the Second World War in 1948, identified the major risk factors associated with cardiovascular disease: high blood pressure, high cholesterol, smoking, obesity, and diabetes. The nurses study, begun in 1976 with a cohort of 240,000 nurses in the United States, led us to the idea that physical activity and lifestyle factors can promote better health. And we should acknowledge the learnings from one of the oldest and longest running research programs in the world, the Busselton study, and the contribution it has made to our understanding of many what were then common diseases. But what set the Genius study apart was one small word containing one great insight: interactivity. It was long known that your genes, your behaviour, the food you eat, whether you smoke or drink alcohol, affected your health. What wasn't known was whether these things might be connected. This hadn't been tested before. Were they related? Could these connections, if any, be why certain lifestyle diseases occurred? And if so, could they lead to preventative strategies or therapies, supplements, medications, or other interventions that might remedy them? And if so, which diseases? Exactly why one sister might develop breast cancer when the other did not was put down to misfortune. Why two brothers, one engaged in heavy physical work, should fall victim to heart disease when the other, living a sedentary life in front of a computer all day, did not. Back in 2010, the Australian Universities Technology Network combined their research assets to design and launch the Genius project. The 5 campuses provided a unique population for this extraordinary cohort, some 300,000 university students in total. 50 years ago, one of the founders of the Genius project made this telling prediction.
I think we could have a whole new set of paradigms for advising the public on healthy living, healthy diet, and how it correlates with their genetic makeup.
Pioneers of their time, this innovative group of researchers designed a study which would, for the first time, explore if there were interactive relationships between personal characteristics, history, genetics, environmental exposures, diet, exercise, medications and supplements, pregnancy, stress, even psychosocial behaviours. So where does the Genius project sit in the scale of longitudinal studies? There hasn't been a major population study anywhere in the world that has matched the combined capacity of 5 very substantive Australian universities in Melbourne, Perth, Brisbane, Adelaide and Sydney. At the time, the ATN group of universities accounted for around 20% of all the university students in Australia. One lead researcher from the University of South Australia was similarly confident.
Everyone's very experienced, got unique expertise that lends itself well to the project. So yeah, I think we've got a good team for this one.
Let's listen to what Professor John Mamo predicted 50 years ago.
I think the Genius study will contribute substantially to people understanding how their genetic makeup responds to their living environment, so they will be living a better quality of life, they'll be living longer, they'll be living healthier, and as a consequence, they'll be happier.
We now know that the Genius study led to asthma being virtually consigned to history's dustbin of lifestyle diseases some 25 years ago. Gone. 50 years ago, scientists only thought that diet, exercise, genes and cancer were linked. There was once a time when people went to gymnasiums to exercise. Now we have dedicated health pods built into our homes, where we exercise and self-monitor our blood pressure and cardio data. Gone too are those appalling diets of yesteryear. Thanks to the Genius study and its concept of genetic susceptibility to a disease, we can identify risk factors connected with particular diseases and identify decreased risk factors for other diseases. Health settings have changed as a result of the Genius study. Public health expenditure by present-day governments all over the world is much less than it was. Those who saw the opportunities of association with and sponsorship of the Genius study benefited greatly. It was correctly envisaged that the Genius study will provide many opportunities, not only to improve our health and well-being, it will also have a positive impact on research, training, and the way we teach. Indeed, as we now know, the Genius study not only led to new prevention strategies and treatments, but it also influenced medical curricula, allied health training, and health policies around the world. A study of this size required a significant investment in seed capital.
To get the Genius study up and running and to have it sustained over a period of time, we need strategic partners who share our vision and our commitment. We need a substantial level of funding to support the significant resources that we require. We need a bunch of really good scientists who are with us for the long haul. We need sophisticated infrastructure and equipment. We have 1 million plus blood samples to store. We require sophisticated data acquisition tools. So clearly, this is a project for the bold.
Were you one of them? Did you help get the Genius project off the ground? Were you associated with the single most important health study the world has ever seen?
We're asking for your help.